Hey guys, welcome to No Filters, Just Freedom, the show for people who are ready to stop shrinking, start rising, and live with unapologetic audacity. My name is Jasmine, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to guide us all through this journey of bold, authentic living. Welcome back to No Filters. Buddha once said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Well, today we're getting into one of the heaviest and most liberating topics there is: forgiveness. This isn't about letting someone off the hook. This is about getting yourself off the hook. This is about realizing that the person holding the key to your prison cell has actually been you all along. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. In truth, it's the ultimate act of self-liberation, a conscious decision to release the poison. And sometimes the freest act of forgiveness requires walking away so that you can reclaim your own peace and power. So the first step in the act of forgiveness is debunking the myths that culture tries to tell us about forgiveness. The first myth is that forgiveness equals reconciliation. This is huge. It does not, so do not fall for that trap. Okay? It does not mean you have to reconcile with the other party. You do not have to trust that person again. If that person hurts you, then there probably isn't anything to reconcile. There probably isn't anything that you can fix it. Okay? They did you wrong. And if they actually recognized that they did it, they would come to you and try to fix it. And you forgive no matter what. Okay? Like, if that person actually acted correctly and did the right thing, you might not actually have to forgive them because they wouldn't have hurt you. So your goal is not to forgive based on what they do correctly, because they didn't do something right. And you don't forgive based on their actions. Okay? That's just not how that works. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. It is possible. Okay, I've done it before. I will do it again. I have no problems in my life making that happen. Okay, because at the end of the day, you know what happened, you trust the situation, and you need to be able to see those red flags. And if that person did that to you, then they will do it again. And depending on how serious the nature is, you might need to walk away. I don't need to reconcile the situation. Now, I can let it go and forgive you because it's important. But that does not mean that I have to make good with you. I do not trust you again for how you hurt me. And the bigger the pain, the bigger you come against my boundary, the easier it is for me to walk away. Okay? Forgiveness does not equal reconciliation. Myth number 2 is that forgiveness excuses the behavior. It does not. You are not saying what they did was okay. Okay? Forgiveness actually requires you to fully acknowledge the harm. All right, you don't pretend like it didn't happen, because that's, again, how you trust them again, and you're looking for reconciliation you're not going to get. Forgiveness is not saying that it's all good, okay? That statement is a very dangerous statement of like, nah, it's all good. It's not all good. You hurt me. There is pain here. There is suffering here. And I have to say it because I can't let go of what I don't acknowledge I'm holding. Okay, you can't let go of something you're pretending isn't there. And even if you pretend it's not there, it does not change the fact that it's still sitting there. It is right there the entire time, and you got to do something about it. And it's hard. It's hard to not do something about it, or it's hard to not pretend. It's hard because you don't want to feel good and you don't want to deal with pain. But that doesn't mean it's acceptable, and it's really, really hard to forgive when you do that. But you do not have to say what they did was okay. You do not have to. It is honestly more toxic and a red flag for you to do so. Myth number 3 is if you forgive, you have to forget. Absolutely not. You cannot forget, and you should not forget. Forgetting makes you vulnerable to future harm. If I put my hand on the stove and it was hot, I need to remember that it was hot so I do not do it again. I can forgive myself for being stupid and not paying attention, but if it's hot, it's hot, and I need to pay attention and not do that again. That's how it works. Okay? If someone hurts you, if someone did something wrong to you, if somebody came for you in that kind of a way, then you need to remember it. And you can forgive them and you can let it go. And sometimes you talk to them again and sometimes you don't. But you always need to keep that in the back of your mind, because there's a reality there that you need to pay attention to. And again, you can forgive them and you can love them and you can do all kinds of things, but do not ever forget, because you will find yourself in pain again that you have no business being in because you weren't paying attention to a truth that you learned. Okay? You learned a lesson. Remember that lesson. The last myth is that forgiveness is for the other person. No, forgiveness is 100% for you. Okay? You're the one drinking the poison. You're the one in pain. You're the one in prison. You're the one holding on to this thing and it's living rent-free in your mind. You are the one struggling. They're not struggling. They're not. They're out there living their best life. And you have to learn to let it go, but not letting it go because you don't remember, not letting it go because you're excusing the behavior. You're letting it go because it's for your own peace, okay? Forgiveness is about a peace of mind. You forgive that person so that you can lay down the burden that you've been walking through. You don't have to hold that anymore. You don't have to live in that space. You can forgive, and it's 100% for yourself. It does not matter how the other person acts. Again, it's not about reconciliation. It's not about making good with that person. Okay? It's about laying down the burden so you don't have to walk with it anymore. Forgiveness is 100% about you. Again, forgiveness is an act of liberation for your soul, and making it about others limits not only your healing, but also your growth. So why do we really choose forgiveness? The first thing that's really important to know is that your body is actually keeping score. I know that's crazy, but there is a physical and mental toll while you're holding a grudge. It takes control of you, mind, body, and soul, okay? You now have anxiety, you've got stress, you're having sleepless nights. It's hijacking your mental health. You're not in a good space because you're still holding on to a pain that you can let go of, you can be free of. You've got anxiety because you have trust issues now, and everywhere you look, you're just reliving that trauma when you don't have to be. When you don't have to be suffering in that specific way, okay? Having resentment is like a debt you continue to pay long after the original loan has been forgiven by everybody else, okay? Everyone else has moved on. Everybody else is living their life, but you're still holding on to that thing. You're still resentful of the pain that not only was caused to you, but by the person who did it to you. You don't have to hold that. You don't have to keep holding that above your head and above theirs. You can forgive and move on. You can just move on. It's not letting go. It's moving forward. It's moving on, okay? You holding that grudge, you having resentment is like carrying a heavy anchor everywhere you go. You're tired, your arms hurt, you're moving slower than you need to, okay? So drop the anchor. That way you don't have to be so tired of being weighed down, okay? There is a freedom in being able to move forward in a healthy, stable way instead of stumbling around holding this heavy thing that is unnecessary to hold. Then you have to think about the second thing that we want to think about why we really choose forgiveness is because when you have resentment or you're holding a grudge and you're not forgiving someone, it's actually a theft of the present. It's actually taking away from an opportunity that you have. You forgive because it's a selfish act of liberation, okay? And we will elaborate more on the liberation part, but you're essentially choosing peace over justice, okay? You're deciding that what I need in my spirit and the healthiness that is me, mind, body, and soul is more important than fairness. Because that's also hard. We struggle with forgiving people because what they did to us and our pain is justified. Okay? You're not crazy for thinking that person hurt you. You're not crazy for it not being done and you wanting to have you're not crazy for wanting reconciliation, okay? You were done wrong. You want fairness. But sometimes you don't get fairness. And that doesn't mean you have to hold on waiting for it. Sometimes choosing your own mental health and choosing peace is more important than anything else you can experience, okay? You can miss out on present joy and future potential holding on to things that you could forgive and let go. It is a theft of the present, okay? You may not have been responsible for the wound, because that's a thing. You didn't cause that pain yourself. Someone else caused you pain and you justifiably are upset. You may not be responsible for the wound, but you are responsible for how to heal it. So it's not your fault it happened to you, but it is your fault and it is your choice on how to move past it. Allowing the person who hurt you to continue doing it is unacceptable, because that's what's happening when you don't forgive somebody. You're still giving that person power over you. You're still allowing what they did to you, that action that you need to forgive, to still cause you pain and harm and holding on to something that's too heavy, when you could just have peace. When you could forgive that person and no longer let it consume your life. It is possible. We deserve to live a life of grace, joy, and peace, and these are things we shouldn't let others steal from us. No one deserves to steal the very best parts of us, and it's time to take those gifts back. So now that we know what we should do, it begs the question, how do we actually pull this off? The first step that you can take in it is to feel the feels, okay? All the way. You feel them all the way. Same thing that I was saying before about sometimes you have to acknowledge it in order to let it go. You cannot forgive what you haven't fully acknowledged that you felt. You can't. If you're not sitting in it, if you're pretending like it's not there, if you're trying to use other things to cover up and mask what's happening, you will constantly struggle. Okay? It's okay to be hurt and angry and sad and betrayed and every other emotion and feeling you might have. It's a-okay. You're not crazy, you're not wrong, you're not overly emotional. Sometimes you just gotta feel what you're feeling. Sometimes you gotta just process through that, and it's okay that that's what you have to do, okay? Now, the important thing is that when you're feeling it, you find ways to release it, okay? You can't just acknowledge that they're there and keep them locked up, okay? You actually have to release it. Scream into a pillow, write a brutally honest letter, but please don't send it. We're not going to start drama, okay? But write it down, get it out of you. Honor the wound before you heal it, okay? Give it time, recognize its presence before you heal it. The next step is to shift the narrative, okay? It's no longer they did this to me, but rather this is something that happened and now I'm in charge of my response, okay? We are no longer victims of circumstance, all right? They did this, they treated me like this, they hurt me, we don't have to worry about that anymore. We can say, this is a situation that happened to me in the past. Okay, this was something that I had to walk through. How do I want to go forward? All right, you're moving from a victim to a person with power. You have the power to overcome. You have the power to change. You have the power to move forward how you see fit. You are not defined by other people's actions. That is not your identity, okay? You are not your pain. You are more than that. You are how you decide to handle that pain. You are how you decide to overcome it and the choices that you make. It's time to take your power back. The last step that we can take is the act of the release, okay? Like I said before, you gotta let it out of you. You gotta move it out of your spirit, okay? This is where you destroy the brutally honest letter. This is where you destroy it, okay? This is a conscious act to symbolize your decision to let it go, okay? Rip it, shred it, burn it, I don't care. You need something that symbolizes that it's done, it's over, it's gone, okay? You declare, for my peace, I am choosing to release this. I am free. And one of the best ways to release something is to speak it, is to say it. You're getting the words from your brain out there. You just speak it. I am free. I am choosing my peace. Say that, release it. Find space that you didn't have before because you were holding something there. So we figured out the steps of forgiveness. Now we must maintain that boundary to stay healthy. And sometimes walking away is that boundary. Okay? The truth is, forgiveness does not mean access. So you don't have to, this is the part about not trusting that person and protecting yourself from vulnerability. You don't forget, okay? You can forgive a shark for biting you, but that doesn't mean you have to swim with them again, okay? Like, you just don't have to. You don't have to keep putting yourself back in a situation because, oh, I forgave them, so it's all good. No, it's not all good. Okay? They hurt you. They've shown a propensity to hurt you. They've given you a situation and showed you a situation where they would be willing to do it, and they might do it again. You do not have to put yourself back in that situation. You can hold that boundary. You can say, hey, the level that you hurt me, this level of disagreement that we have is enough for me to draw a line in the sand. And I forgive you, and I don't hate you, and you're not an evil person, but you are not the kind of person I want to have in my life anymore. Okay? You can forgive and hold the boundary by reminding yourself that they're not safe for you. Okay? Sometimes peace is also about safety. All right, that is not something that I need to have in my life. That level of toxicity is not something I need to have in my life. Why? Because it's not mentally safe for me. Because it's not emotionally safe for me. Okay, you can do that. It's choosing to create this boundary of not giving them access to you anymore is the ultimate form of self-respect. I choose me because I have to protect me from a situation that I don't have to put myself in. I do not have to let you be in my life, okay? Doing life with me, being in my life is a gift, not a priority. It's not something that is required, okay? It's not something that you just get just because, okay? It is a gift that I offer you that you get to enjoy. You get to enjoy my presence. You don't automatically get it. And that's something that you have to hold firm to. You don't just give yourself away to everybody that shows up in your life. Not only do you get spread thin, but that's how you get hurt. You don't know how to protect yourself when you're fighting on that many fronts. It's really important to hold yourself together and hold yourself smallly. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. Okay? Sometimes you just got to hold your peace and not give them access. Okay? The second thing that you want to do when you're creating this boundary and walking away is you might need to pay attention to the signs of when to walk away. Okay? When a person is unapologetic and continues the harmful behavior, yes, that is a sign to leave. That is a sign to run away. Okay, it's the same thing where it's like you don't have to give them access. Forgiveness isn't just about whether or not you can reconcile, because some people don't care. Some people will continue hurting you because that's just who they are as people. And you do not have to keep that level of toxicity in your life. You have the right to walk away and maintain peace in your life. You walk away when you see that the relationship that you have with that person is constantly one-sided and draining. If I walk into a situation with you and I walk out being so empty that I have nothing left to give anybody else or even myself, that is not a healthy space. I do not have to put myself in an unhealthy mental space. If you require that much energy from me, and I felt like I did all of the work, and not just I felt it because sometimes you feel things, but over and over again, there's a pattern here, walk away. You deserve to have people in your life that help you fill your cup as well. It is a give and take process. And if that person is only taking, then you don't need to have them anymore. All right? You also walk away from someone who's fundamentally disrespecting your core values. They're fundamentally, if my friends know that I care about 3 things: honesty, loyalty, and respect. That's all I really care about. We can work through everything else. We really can. And we could probably work through disrespect if you're honest about it. We probably could. But when you lie to me, when you're not loyal to me, I can't have you in my life. I can't. I can forgive you for not being loyal in the situation, but I gotta go. Because you fundamentally disrespected one of my core tenets that I told you about, that I told you up front about. When someone becomes a real authentic friend to me, not just a coworker, not just somebody that I see around, but when I let you into my life, you gotta know that these 3 things matter. And the moment you break those is the moment I gotta go. I gotta go. I can't I cannot have people in my life like that. Everyone needs to find a set of core values and then put boundaries around them. And then say, look, if you're disrespecting these values, I'm walking away from you. All right. You also, most importantly, walk away from a relationship that threatens your physical safety. And yes, it can include your mental and emotional safety, but like definitely your physical safety. You walk away from that. You do not deserve to be in a space where you don't feel comfortable, safe, and loved. If you are literally in a physical space that is not safe for you, then you have to walk away. You might want to run away, okay? That means you let go of some of those relationships. You look at someone and it's like, oh, they didn't mean it. They absolutely did mean it. And if you don't feel safe, it's probably because they've been continually doing it to you over and over again. You have to walk away from that. You have to move on from that, okay? Because the truth is, walking away is an act of self-love, okay? It is loving yourself when you walk away. You are choosing to remove yourself as an ultimate act of forgiveness in its completion. I forgive you. I can still care about you as a human being, but I love myself enough to not have this toxicity in my life. I love myself enough to know that I deserve better and my boundaries, it's okay for my boundaries to be met. I can forgive you, but love myself enough to know that I don't have to be mentally and emotionally drained like this. Because again, forgiveness is about dropping it. Forgiveness is about not holding on to it. You're not resentful. You're not holding the grudge. You're putting it down and you walk away from it. Okay, you're moving forward from the situation. And in order to move forward, you choose yourself. You choose your path. You choose your right to being the best version of yourself. You choose your peace. It is a selfish act, but sometimes you need to be in a situation where you love yourself more than what other people are doing for you, because not everybody loves you the same. Not everybody has your best interest at heart. We're not talking about being selfish when other people are trying to give to you. We're talking about being selfish when people are taking from you. When people are taking and don't have your best interest at heart, you have to love and protect yourself enough even when others don't. Okay? Releasing both parties from this vicious cycle is so healthy. You no longer have to worry about them and they don't have to, tiptoe around. And you get the freedom to say, hey, that was just a thing that I've gone through in my past. Lesson learned, moving on. Again, I can't say it enough. You are moving on. Forgiveness is about moving forward. It's about having the peace to keep going in your life and not holding on to something that is a detriment. Okay, you're not holding on to something that is doing you more harm than good. Because then the situation is exactly what that person was doing to you. The situation, the resentment is continually doing the very thing that the situation puts you in, okay? It's harming you. It's putting you in a situation you have no business being in. You don't have to do it. You can walk away. It's okay. You are choosing your well-being, even if it's done quietly and without bitterness. I don't have to have a fight with you. I don't have to yell and scream. I don't have to make some sort of declaration that I'm walking away. I can just decide that I'm not doing it anymore. And that is something that it took me a while to learn how to do, because I'm a very assertive and gregarious kind of personality. I'm very honest. I'm very blunt. And I'd let you know what it is. If I'm hurt, you're going to know that I'm hurt. I'm going to tell you that what you did hurt me. I'm going to tell you that how you handled this situation was wrong and I don't like it. Okay? I am not afraid to do that. That being said, that's not always necessary. And there's not always a need for conflict when you're forgiven. Okay? And there was a situation recently, I felt so grown, so proud of myself, that I was hurt beyond measure. It was painful. It was, I think back on it, and I think it's still going to be one of the biggest life lessons I ever learned. And I didn't want to fight about it. I didn't want to explain myself. I didn't want to justify why what they did was completely unacceptable. So I just left. I just rolled out. I just quietly removed myself from that relationship and kept it pushing. I didn't send text messages. I didn't answer. I didn't do anything. This was a different version of ghosting. I didn't just ghost you. You knew what you did was wrong. You knew what you did was wrong because in the moment you saw that it was wrong. In the moment, I even told you it was wrong, but I didn't do it with bitterness. I didn't do it in anger. You knew it was wrong. We all established that it was wrong, and I let it go. I forgave you. I let go of the wrong, and I moved on. I did not forget. I'm gonna remember it till the day I die because I can't ever find myself in a situation like that again. But I'm not angry about it. I'm not bitter. It's a life lesson that's important. And I don't need to have that person in my life anymore. And if that person were to come back into my life 10 years from now, I would be like, look, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're doing well. You are not allowed in my life. That is my boundary. You are nowhere near allowed in my life in any way, shape, or form because I have to protect myself. The ultimate act of self-love. And maybe most importantly, you must forgive yourself, okay? Because sometimes we find ourselves in a situation because we put ourselves there and then we hold on to it in our own self. We cling to past mistakes, poor choices, and self-perceived failures with a unique ferocity, building a prison of shame, okay? You don't have to be ashamed for making mistakes. You are human. We all make mistakes. We must learn how to break the life sentence of self-judgment we've imposed on ourselves. Remove the self-blame by shifting the mindset from I'm bad because I did something bad. Don't judge your past self. Try to talk to it instead. Think of the circumstances, the goals, and then after that decision, let it go and have compassion. It's all about extracting the lesson, not imposing a life sentence. Okay? These things are so important. This is the way we forgive. This is the way we love ourselves. This is the way we find out what is best for our future and how we handle these situations. Okay? It's really, really important to learn how to let go. It's really, really important to learn how to drop something where it is, let it go down, drop the anchor, and then move forward. Okay? We're not giving them a pass. We're not looking for reconciliation. We're choosing ourselves with an radical act of self-love. Okay? It's one of the most important things you'll ever learn how to do in your life. It's also one of the hardest. Because again, you have to recognize the harm. You have to feel your feelings. You have to be honest about what's happening in the situation. But that's okay because you still have to move on. The world is still spinning. So we learn our life lessons and we keep pushing. Okay? Again, forgiveness is not about them. It's for you. So I encourage you in the next few weeks, find something, find one small thing, find one situation where you can forgive. Whether it's forgiving yourself, whether it's forgiving someone else, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be like a big thing, but maybe it's something small. Maybe your coworker said something to you that hurt your feelings. Maybe you just gotta move past that. You forgive them. They said something that was rude and disrespectful. I forgive you. And I don't necessarily want to have anything to do with you in this moment. It's possible. Try small things and get that done. You have every right to love yourself with your own act of freedom and liberation. Each one of us deserves forgiveness and to know how to move on in a happier, healthy, joy-filled life. Okay, so try it out. Go enjoy your freedom. And the next time somebody tries to tell you that you have to forgive in a way that you know is unacceptable, walk away. The next time somebody tells you that you have to reconcile or forget, you deserve so much better. Love yourself, know your worth, and continue being the best version of yourself by forgiving the world around you. Remember, you don't need permission to be great, and this is your call to rise, to reclaim your power, and to step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I believe extraordinary potential lives in all of us, the dreams we've tucked away, the voice that was softened, and the fire that's been waiting to burn bright. This journey isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about shattering expectations and embracing your truest, most unapologetic self. No more shrinking or waiting for permission. The world needs your brilliance, your resilience, and your unique light. It's time to stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "I am more than enough." Your next chapter begins now. Let's write it with courage, audacity, and unshakable belief in who you are. The unstoppable person isn't born, they're awakened. And that person is you. Now go start your revolution. This world needs your unshaken light today.